Good morning, students of class 10. You are welcome back to the classes now. We are doing history, the nationalist movement in Indochina. And in our previous classes, we have talked about providing modern education, and the French had a dilemma to solve. So the dilemma was what will be the medium of instruction, and how far the Vietnamese should be given the education, up to which standard. That was the dilemma they solved. And later on, talking modern, we have also talked about talking modern. Now today we'll talk about 2.2, looking modern. So looking modern, now the Vietnamese also had to look modern in order to get civilized. So let's see what the French had done during that period. There are altogether 6 points over here. We'll go through one by one. The Tonkin Free Schools. The French had captured the northern part of Vietnam, that was the Tonkin and the Annam. So the Tonkin Free Schools was started. The French established new French schools, modern schools, to provide modern education. It was established in 1907 to provide with a Western style of education to the Vietnamese, especially because they thought that it is their mission to civilize these people. This education included classes in science, French and hygiene, apart from other regular subjects, and these French, science and hygiene were taught separately, especially in the evening. Now we can see that these classes, which classes we are talking about, that were taught separately: science, French and hygiene. These classes were held in the evening. Apart from regular classes, these certain classes, to these three classes, were held in the evening and had to be paid for separately. So the student had to pay separately for these three classes which was held in the evening. And the students, especially the children of the elite group, elite Vietnamese, their children used to go to the school, modern schools. So now it was not enough. So it was not enough to learn science and Western ideas. For what French thought that it is not enough, it is not sufficient to learn science and Western ideas to be modern, but the Vietnamese had to also look modern. So they thought that the Vietnamese also had to look modern, because they used to wear traditional dress, they used to keep long hair. That was the traditional custom, because they were influenced by the Chinese. The Chinese used to keep long hair, that was their tradition, and the same with the Vietnamese also. So now number 4, the school encouraged the modern school. This was the modern education provided by the French in the New Tonkin school. The school encouraged the adoption of Western style. Adoption means to follow the Western style, such as having a very short haircut. So the French wanted the Vietnamese students to follow the Western style of talking, Western style of wearing clothes and looking. So they should look modern. So they must adopt or follow the Western style, everything, such as having a short haircut. So once this was announced, for the Vietnamese, they find it very difficult now. It was a kind of attack towards their tradition. The Vietnamese, for Vietnamese, this means that a major break with their own identity. They began to feel that their identity will be lost if they cut their hair short and look modern. Their identity they will lose. So since they traditionally kept long hair as Chinese do, just like Chinese, because they were influenced by Chinese culture, the Vietnamese, their language, literature, even their tradition, everything, even their writings, everything was influenced by Chinese culture. So naturally they kept, as they traditionally used to keep long hair like Chinese they do. So that's why they began to feel it was an attack towards their culture. So as we have already learned that Vietnamese were very much influenced by Chinese culture. So that's why they began to feel that it is an attack, or their identity will be lost if they follow the modern style of Western style, modern Western style of clothing, Western style of looking, Western style of speaking, and even their literature, language. If they follow everything Western, then their own identity, culture, and tradition will be lost. So now we'll talk about in our next class. So in the next class 2.3 we'll talk about resistance. Resistance means to stop, or to revolt, or to go against. Resistance in schools, that is in the Tonkin schools, what happened, how the students resisted. We'll talk about that in our next class. So that's all for today. Thank you very much for your watching. So we'll meet in the next class. Actually, this was yesterday's. I could not provide you these classes yesterday because there were some technical faults, technical glitches. So that's why I could not send. Today I'm sending. So that's all for today. Thank you very much. We'll meet in the next class and we'll talk about resistance in schools. That is 2.3. So that's all. Stay safe, learn, practice at home. I have provided you some questions of this Indochina also. So you can go through it, copy it out, take the screenshot. Keep yourself busy, that's all. And don't waste your time. So thank you very much. We'll meet in the next class.